Hi, welcome back to PÖFF TV. We're right in the heart of the Black Nights Film Festival. I'm your host Miia, and today I have with me the award-winning Lithuanian documentary filmmaker Vytautas Puidokas.
Yes.
Behind
perfect.
the film Murmuring Hearts. Hello.
Hello, nice to see you.
You too. How are you doing?
I'm fine, yeah, very happy to be in Tallinn, and today we have a world premiere, so it's a big day.
All right, yeah. So let's get right into it. Was there maybe a personal experience or event that prompted you to create this film?
Yeah, I think it's quite a personal film. The thing is that so the rehab facility in which we shot and spent a year of shooting, it's actually just maybe 5 or 6 kilometers from the place where I was born.
Oh.
So it's my home village, home places, and I knew about this community for quite a while. My parents still live in the area, so they belong to the same religious group, and so I knew about the community for quite a bit of time, and then somehow gradually it evolved into a film. Yes.
Mm-hmm. So could you please describe the day-to-day life in this community?
Oh, it's a very intense life, actually.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like, it's in the middle of nowhere in a village, but then, I don't know, it's just so full of events and change and emotion. It's a very charged place. The routine looks quite simple. It's that people wake up at 7 o'clock, they go to milk the cows, then they have a breakfast, then some more work, then some praying, work, dinner. Yeah, so it's quite an intense schedule that we have. But also, I think, what makes it very intense is that, people come and go. Sometimes people come, they say, I'm gonna stay for 1 year. They leave after 3 days, so you never know who's coming, who is leaving. The group is always changing. And of course, there is, I don't know, a lot of emotion and energy. Because I think this place is I don't know, it's a particular place. It's a place, probably one of the last case scenarios where you can come if you struggle with addiction. Usually people who go there, they already tried a lot of different options and ways. So yeah, it's very intense, actually. Yeah, I think it's kind of the last one of the last opportunities to cling to life. So yes.
All right. Is there anything you think specific that was like causing stress to the inhabitants there?
I think life is intense any way or another there. With the founder of the community, we kind of had this agreement because, it's also very particular, I think, to make a film in such an environment. But from very early on, we had this agreement that let's make this film. Maybe if at least it helps one person to see this and to reflect on himself, his history, his emotional condition, then it's worth to make it. So this was basically the primary agreement. And then I think the community was very generous in accepting us with the camera and letting us be close and also being open with us. So this I really value, and I think this was quite exceptional. Yeah.
What do you think was maybe then the opposite way, helping them like heal and find peace there?
What do you mean by opposite? Like
No, because I asked about stress before, so now.
Yeah. Do you mean what helps them heal, or?
Yeah.
I think it's a lot of things. One thing is that it's a religious community, though not everybody is maybe fully religious in this community, but I think this is one of the sources of the strength. Then, of course, the nature, the animals, the work that they do, this very clear structure, and also they have, they have these discussions on the table every day. I think all this routine, I don't know, I think it's kind of a first step to building a different life, because you get disconnected from your previous life.
Yeah.
It's not that you stay in touch a lot with people outside the community. So I think it's a lot about just trying to make a shift in life. And then after you stay maybe a year or a couple of years in this very closed environment, if everything is going fine, there is a chance that, you know, you can start building a bit of different life when you're out. Yeah.
All right. In your opinion, was this a safe space for a 14-year-old boy to be sent to?
Well, that's a very complicated question. I think when we started to make the film, I never knew the answer. What should be the outcome for the protagonist, Matas, in this situation? Is it good that he is there, or is it bad? Is there a better place for him, or maybe there is a worse place? This was actually a question that when you, that is very difficult to answer. And I had very different opinions all along, and people around him had very different opinions. From the first glance, if you make very kind of, if you go there and just judge this situation quickly, it seems maybe that it's not the best place. But then when you get into the history of him, when you meet his foster parents, it becomes a very difficult puzzle. I think, for me, this film is a proof that, life is much more complex than sometimes we imagine, and there are situations which we kind of imagine that shouldn't or couldn't happen, but I think life is full of all sorts of possibilities and situations that we can never imagine. So probably this film is one of those. Yes.
Yeah. So not black and white. Yeah.
No, not at all. Yes.
Yeah. Did anything happen during the filming of this documentary that maybe changed the course of the film?
Yes, of course. Yes, I think for me usually what becomes a film is not the idea that I came up with, but it's mostly that you start with some idea and then it evolves through shooting and editing. So it's this path that you go from the beginning to the end that usually becomes a film. If you just have an idea and go and shoot it and edit it and present it, it's a bit stiff, I think. So. So there were a lot of things and transformations. Just to begin with, we've never had an idea, to shoot a teenager in this rehab. It all started from just going to the community, speaking with the people, trying to find a protagonist and think of a way how such a film could be made. And for example, one time we went there and then we see that there is this boy there. This was maybe after 6 months of research preparation. So this was already, a thing that changed the course of the film totally. Because in the beginning, the idea was maybe more to make a film about addictions, the treatment, how to heal, the man. But then when Matas appeared there, it was kind of impossible to continue with the film we came up in the beginning, because every time you see things happening, you have this question: what is this boy doing here? So that was probably probably the crucial incident in the shooting of this film.
Oh yeah.
And then of course, as you spend more time with the people, you understand deeper the reasons. Why they feel like that, what happened, and you understand much more about yourself, and everything evolves bit by bit.
What would you say was the biggest challenge with this movie?
I think as for me, as for the director, I think it was the relationships with the people, that were very intense, very shaky. Sometimes I think one of the things that also we see in film, that having such strong addictions and traumas, it makes you a bit unstable, the whole environment. Sometimes it feels like everyone is very kind of loving and caring and nice to each other, but when something flips, the mood changes, and then it gets very raw, intense, sometimes violent. So staying in all this boat together, trying to manage that there wouldn't be anything too harsh happening, but also still trying to make a film and reveal the soul of this place, of the people. So yeah, balancing out these relationships, I think for me was maybe the biggest struggle. because as a team, it was very intense. Sometimes you go home from the shooting in a car and you have so much emotions. You cry, you laugh on the car. You experience so much in 3-4 days. You experience so much. So yeah.
All right, you kind of already answered this before, but what is the core message, or what would you like the audience to really take along from this documentary?
I'm not a fan of I think I like my films to stay quite open, so people could make up their mind. Maybe this question that you asked in the beginning, is it good or bad that Matas is there, and all these questions, I think I like when they are open, but my idea was maybe to show a bit, to create this experience. What is to have these traumas, to have addictions? How does it reflect on your daily life, on relationships with people? And I think also I have some history in my family with addiction. So, even though it's a very particular environment, let's say, but I think people should be able to relate even though we live in different families or different situations. But I think it's very similar how addiction reflects on the relationships. And I think another interesting thing in this community, because we kind of see with Matas, they kind of become a little family, and also we can see how these different generations interact together, and maybe how some things can be passed from one generation to another, and that it's we need to be careful because what we do, it can pass also to our environment, our kids, and yeah. So this cycle, I think, cycle of addiction, cycle in a way of violence, of certain communication. I wanted people to experience this, and I'm sure that there will be a lot of people who never went to such a facility but can still relate emotionally to the situations that we observe on the screen.
All right. Thank you so much for coming and uncovering some more details about this story and this film and behind the scenes. And thank you so much for tuning into PÖFF TV, and catch you next time. Bye.